One point of contention amongst Titanic enthusiasts would be the actions of the D-Deck Door during the sinking of the famous ocean liner. Was the door open during the sinking? Did the door being open contribute to a faster sinking? Did the door cause Titanic's port list? According to his account, Officer Charles Lightoller gave an order to the crew during the lifeboat preparations. Earlier and before I realized there was any danger, I told off the boatswain to take some men, I didn't say how many, leaving the man to use his own judgment, to go down below and open the gangway doors in order that some boats could come alongside and be filled to their utmost capacity. He complied with the order. Officer Lightoller always said that he had ordered gangway doors to be opened, but some enthusiasts claim that it was the D-Deck door specifically that was to be opened, while others claim to be the E-Deck doorways. Some say that the men who went down to open the doors tried E-Deck, saw the approaching water and made their way to D-Deck, where they opened the door there. What really happened is something that we, unfortunately, don't know, because all crewmen sent below to open the doors were never seen again. One thing we do know is that the Titanic wreck seems to support Lightoller's claim of the door being opened. On the bow section of the wreck in the 1980s and 90s, it could clearly be seen as open and has since fallen off. Later on, the object was recovered, conserved, and is now part of an exhibition about Titanic. A big reason why some enthusiasts claim that the door was never opened happens to be lifeboat number 6. When this boat was lowered, it passed right beside the D-Deck gangway doors, and not a single passenger or crew on board ever gave testimony that the door was open, leading to confusion and debate as to exactly when the door was opened. When compiling information and ship angles for the Titanic real-time animation, special attention was given to this moment and one further on. I wanted to see if the D-Deck door being open had any effect on the port list. The way that flooding works deal with the pressure inside the ship versus the pressure outside of the ship. For instance, at the beginning of the event where there was no water inside, so when the iceberg struck the ship, water began to flood in very quickly. As water built up inside the ship, that pressure lowered, causing the rate of flooding to slow down. This same scenario can be used for the D-Deck door. If water inside the ship is at or near the level outside the ship, then it wouldn't have a great effect on the port list. However, if water was greatly lower than that outside the ship, when the door reached the waterline, it would cause water to flood in at a fast rate and cause the port list to worsen. I still cannot explain how people in Boat 6 did not notice the door being opened, but I began a working theory. Since we know that doors were ordered open by Lightoller and the door is open on the wreck, it had to have been opened at some point in the sinking. What if the crew had opened the door but saw the waterline only a few feet down and attempted to close the door? In doing so, they did not close the door all the way, or when closing it, they did not lock it. This would cause the door to have a non-watertight seal and allow water into the ship. Right around the time in the animation when Titanic begins to take on her port list, the D-Deck door is already submerging, and by the time the port list becomes very pronounced, it is totally gone from view. The ship angles were calculated using survivor testimony and research from Samuel Halpern's Trim and Heel essay, so the ship's movement in the water is within some degree of accuracy. The door was already about 25% submerged by the time the port list began to take effect, and when it had worsened to 9 degrees, the door was completely underwater. It is entirely possible that the door being open did cause the port list to worsen, but for me to say it with 100% certainty would be false. If we can prove in the future where the water was on D-Deck at the time the door began to submerge, we can finally solve this question. So, was Titanic's D-Deck door opened during the sinking? Yes. Did the door being open cause or exaggerate the ship's list to port? I'm not willing to say yes or no, but it's a definite possibility. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and share the video with others if you found it interesting. Huge shout out to Lucas S., the Discord user who voiced this script. And thanks to my patrons over at Patreon for sponsoring this video, Lucas, Jordan, Monster, and Spectrum. This has been a Titanic Animations production, and I'll see you guys next time.